We should never teach our kids to hate America or that America is a racist and evil country. In fact, it should be the exact opposite.
DeSantis, Huckabee, and other Republican governors crusade to eradicate Black history or anything that makes white folk feel uncomfortable with education should not be shocking to any of us in this country, for it is not a new practice for white people to pretend that Black folk and our history doesn't exist, at least as an integral part of the American story.
We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
The institution of public school in the United States of America is a maniacal and racist institution, just like the many others. And of course, its roots are grounded in one thing: white fear. Think about the two reasons that white folk during slavery made it illegal for Black people to learn to read. His rights that DeSantis and his fellow Republican governors are still constantly trying to threaten. Well, those reasons during slavery was a couple things. First, they said teaching a slave to read would soil the slave, because if a slave could read, then that person could forge their freedom documents. Being educated, learning how to read and write can set you free, basically. Or they may understand the teachings of abolitionists, those who wrote about slave rebellions. Consider that. But slavery was not when this country stopped hindering the learnings of Black folk as an effort to ensure that we remain a second-class citizenry. If you consider schools in this country before Brown versus Board of Education and how the states would racially use taxes and other tactics to prevent Black folk from having equal access to a public education. So turning schools over to local officials so local officials could do what they may with tax dollars versus states funding schools equitably. And all this led to was white local officials, those who were elected, taking funds and ensuring white schools were fully funded, white public schools were fully funded, while Black people who pay equal taxes as their white counterparts got little to no resources at all. Think about that. And then we're forced to realize that it didn't even end there. Because if you consider that Black land-grant universities compared with their white counterparts have been underfunded by $12.8 billion, you understand that what we're dealing with, this anti-Black education from DeSantis and his minions, it's nothing new. It is America. So when you hear Republicans continually crying about being against the woke mob or woke culture, please listen. Listen a little closer, and you probably could hear the dog whistle that's meant for every racist in this country. When you couple the two facts, one is the current attack on critical race theory, African-American history classes as an AP course, and wokeness, it becomes clear why DeSantis and his acolytes would prefer everyone to fight against being woke to these facts. For it's hard to know these facts and still be against what they stood for: Black freedom, Black equity, Black citizenship as a first-class citizen, wholeness. Think about that. So Republicans and their racist tactics need all of you to invest in a new sleep number bed, because they want you all to remain sleeping to the fact that America, even America's education system, is as racist as its prison system, its hospitals, and the federal government for that matter. Knowing that means you are woke to the fact that Black people are still suffering at the hands of every institution. So these governors, DeSantis and the others, aren't doing anything new. They're recycling racist tactics. And that, my friends, is the news. Have a good evening, but not before you think about it.